Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a welcome to Step Into Your Sunshine that is hosted by me, Rachel Kudran. I am the owner of Etsy Boutique Kudran's Curiosities and the copywriter for RC Copywriting. Now, today I want to dive into one of my most recent experiences and share my takeaways because they were enormous. I had the absolute pleasure and gift of attending Unleash Your Power Within by Tony Robbbins in Birmingham, England, about a week ago. And I loved every second of it. So before we dive into the content of the seminar, I want to talk about beforehand. Now, I've been a Tony Robbbins fan for years, and I really resonate with his approaches and his mindset. And I've watched many of his videos. And at the beginning of this year, I decided to read his book, I believe called Unleashed Power. And it was mind-blowing. Now, to get you guys into the mood of what was this like, I was reading this. It was not Unleashed Power, Unlimited Power. And I was reading this throughout the holidays and especially the first week of January. Where was I during this time? I was at Disney World in Florida, USA, and what would happen during that time is that me, my daughter, and my mother would all come down with COVID. I was reading this book, and truly in my mindset, I was believing that I could determine just how sick I became based on my mindset. Now, that might sound wacky and crazy to some of you, but I truly believe that inside. And I had zero normal symptoms of COVID. To be honest, before I took my COVID test, I was in the pool swimming with my daughter and my husband, and I really didn't feel sick anymore. The only thing I had was I had little fits of coughs in the evening only, and I was quite tired. This was my only symptoms. And the day I had started having more symptoms, I was hot, I was a little bit delirious walking around the park, and I came home early, took a nap, took a bath, and then I just had the coughs, just little coughs in the evening for 2 days. This was all the symptoms I had. And it was only because 2 days later, my mother, she got very sick at the park, and we had to take her actually to the emergency doctors at the park to see, because she was just very sick. It was really hard for her to get around and to stand. And she thought she had all these other things going on. And I was like, okay, wait, we're going to get COVID tests just to make sure. And she told me, well, if I have to take one, then you have to take one. I was like, yeah, no problem, because I didn't have COVID, or so I thought, because I had zero of the normal symptoms. And come to find out, we both test positive for COVID. And to go into depth, I was reading this book, Unlimited Power by Tony Robbbins, and I was solely focused on the idea that I could determine how sick I became and how quickly I recovered. And perhaps some people would say you had a mild case of COVID, and perhaps that's true. But for me, I actively told myself that I would overcome this quickly, that while I was sick, my body was responding and was going to be back very, very soon, and that this wasn't going to take me down. I was going to be ready to go. And that's exactly what occurred. And in that moment, I realized the power of mindset, the power of the thoughts that you're feeding your brain makes a difference. And I became obsessed with seeing Tony live, because if he could make this big of a difference while I had COVID, then what could he do if I saw him in person? And I started my search. And I found out that he was going to be coming to Birmingham, England in July of 2023. And I thought, oh my gosh, I live in France. England is close enough. I will figure out a way. And when I first looked at the tickets, I thought, that doubt coming in, I can't afford this. Those are really expensive. Maybe it's not meant for me. I'll just have to wait till next time. But deep in my soul, I knew that I needed to attend this event. And when you are soul-led and you just feel it in your bones, the universe conspires for you. And lo and behold, someone I met at a previous convention the previous year was selling Tony Robbbins tickets. And I got in contact with her, and to speed up the story, I ended up purchasing from her. And I didn't even know where I was sitting. I just had a set amount that I could afford, and whatever her tickets were going to be good enough, because I was going to be in the arena. I was going to be there. And that's all that mattered. I would come to find out that she had very, very good tickets. And I was very blessed to be able to experience that. So let me lead you in to what was the Tony Robbbins event? What was UPW for me? Now, on the first day, I am ecstatic. I wake up screaming. I'm like, it's the day I am finally here. And you go in, and there is thousands upon thousands of people waiting. And you get kind of nervous. I don't know any of these people. I came alone. Did anybody else come alone? Is everybody with a group? Do they all know people? Am I going to be the only outcast around here? And you begin to self-doubt. Am I here for the right reasons? Am I really going to learn anything with 10,000 other people here? And you begin to wonder, what's going to happen during the next 4 days? And we walk in, and the first day, Tony talks for 12 hours straight. I didn't even know that this was possible. But he spoke for 12 hours straight, and he is electrifying. His presence, his voice, his intent, his strength, his conviction is incredible. And that night, the infamous firework takes place, and he spends hours and hours prepping your conscious, prepping your subconscious to get ready, because you're about to walk over 1,200 degree colds barefoot. Now, if that doesn't intimidate you, I promise you, when you're standing in line and you're looking at these red hot coals, that you begin to wonder, can I really do this? And I'm out there, 10,000 people, we're all hooping and hollering, and yes, we can do this. We're getting into our peak state to be able to do this without any burns. And I get up there, and I'm ready. I am on top of the world. This is something I had dreamed about for months. And I get up there, I'm prepping. They have helpers to help make sure that you are in the right state so that you don't experience burns and that you're able to do it. And it's 12 feet of solid 1,200 degree burning coals. And I kid you not, I can't even remember them being hot. I know, that's mind-blowing. It's absolutely wild, but it is 100% the truth. I can't even remember them being hot. I was in such a peak state. My physiology was off the charts. My mindset was the most empowering state I have ever experienced. And you get to the end, you wipe off your feet, and then you celebrate. And I am just jumping up and down, hooping and hollering, screaming at the top of my lungs that I just did a fire walk. And you walk out of that experience strutting your stuff because you can't even believe what you just did. You become another person in a matter of 12 steps. Because my mind shift was incredible. It brought me back to that moment in January when I am convinced that my mindset empowered me to have a lesser experience and symptoms with COVID. Now, I don't want any of you guys to get confused and think that I'm diminishing the lives that were lost and the impact of COVID, because I'm absolutely not. One of my family members had a very, very severe case, and it is and was a real thing that impacted families across the world. But I want you to understand my experience. And in those high moments, I had the most empowering mindset that you can imagine. The next day, I felt on cloud 12 out of 10. I walk in, I'm strutting my stuff. I bought my Firewalker long sleeve shirt, and I am thinking that I am hot stuff. And so does everybody else around me. So does those 9,999 other people. Thought exactly the same thing. And all of a sudden, you're not in the mindset of feeling like you're not enough. You're not in the mindset of feeling like, can I do this because I'm alone? You're in the mindset like, hell yeah, I can take on anything that comes my way and I will obliterate it. I will expand my business to new heights, inconceivable heights. I will take back my life and empower all of those around me. I was in that mindset walking into day 2. And if you look back on my social media feed, you can see my glowing face, and there is no filter there. I am on cloud 12. That day, we go through this process where you talk about what you like, what you hate, what you love, and what you want. And with intensive, crystal clear clarity, I saw my next path. And what is that, you may ask? It is holistic retreats based in France. And you may be asking, why holistic retreats? Because that empowered feeling I felt made me realize that there were many parts of my life and my experiences that I was hiding. I was pushing to the side because I didn't want other people to know, define me that way. And they made me feel like I wasn't enough, or I wasn't good enough, or I didn't know enough, or I had had these experiences and I'm somehow burdened and banished because of them. And I knew that it was my responsibility. It was my passion. It was my soul, heart focus that I would never allow another human to feel what I have felt for years about being ashamed of those experiences. Now, this podcast isn't about those experiences, but just to fill you in a little bit, is before I moved to France, about 4 years before then, mid like 2015, 2016 time, I had horrible physical health. I couldn't walk up the stairs of my own house. I was taking many prescription drugs because I went from doctor to doctor to doctor, and all that they would do was prescribe me more drugs and tell me that I was too young to have these symptoms. And I thought that was the only way. I was completely disempowered. I gave all my power away to other people, to doctors, to nurses, to practitioners, to anybody who said or claimed that they could help me. And one night I was at my friend's house, and the next morning I was getting out my pills, and she looked at me with these saucer eyes, and it triggered a response in me that I knew that I could no longer go down this path. I knew that I had to change. And I turned to alternative holistic modalities. And again, they revamped my life. They empowered me to become the woman I am today. They gave me my freedom. They gave me my physical freedom. Now, where 8 years ago, I couldn't even imagine walking up the steps of my house, I now train for 10Ks. That's incredible. That's incredible. And I was only afforded that opportunity by taking back my power and choosing to enlist in the healing modalities of holistic care. This happened again when I moved to France, and I fell into a dark depression because my autonomy was 100% stripped from me. I could no longer do anything on my own, anything. From the most basic task that involves speaking to another person to the most complex task you can imagine. I needed help. I needed hand-holding every step of the way. And I was not that kind of woman. I loved autonomy. I loved independence. I loved doing things on my own. And all of it was taken from me. And I became lost. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't even know who Rachel was anymore, because all the things in my life, all the experiences, all the people in my life that defined me while I lived in Oklahoma were no longer there. They were gone. And I had to rebuild my life. And it was soul destroying because I didn't know who to turn to. I didn't even have any friends to turn to. I didn't have my family. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any coworkers. I didn't have a job. I had nothing. And that triggered a deep depression. And only through these, again, these alternative modalities and methods did I heal. And it would happen a third time when my daughter was a year old, and I didn't know who I was again, because the only definition of a person that I was a mother. And so I turned to these modalities again, and they allowed me to heal myself before I went into a deep state again. And these modalities, the holistic practices of acupuncture, physical therapy, counseling, cold water therapy, meditation, journaling, those are things that saved my life. And so on day 2 of UPW, I saw with crystal clarity that this was my path. It was my time to take all those parts of me that I had always believed was broken and shameful and put them on a shelf to be displayed to others so that I could become the person I am meant to be, that I could be a beacon of light for others, so I could step into my sunshine and share my story and empower others to become the best, most empowered, most powerful versions of themselves. When an idea is placed in your heart, it becomes a mission. You become obsessed with it. It has to happen because this is your purpose. And that's how I feel about the holistic retreat. I am pouring everything I have into it for the past week because this must happen. It is an extension of my soul, and I have to have this retreat because it is an opportunity for me to uplift and empower men and women all around the globe. It is such an opportunity and such a calling. And I know that this is my next path. Now, something else that happened at UPW was on day 3. Now, day 3, everybody talks about it. If they've been there before, they talk like, oh, day 3 is transformational. You're going to come out and say, life is never going to be the same. Life is never going to be the same. And at this point, I'm open and willing. Whatever comes into my life on day 3, I know is going to change my world, change my perception. And I remember in the morning, before everything got started, I was waiting in line to the bathroom and I was talking to this woman in front of me. And she was worried about the hype of day 3, that she was going to be disappointed, that I wasn't going to live up to the expectation she had built in her head, that she had heard all of these people talking about this experience. And she was worried that she wouldn't feel any different. And really, it was her fears that were clouding her accessibility, because she was so worried about having a change that she could tangibly feel that she was blocking herself from actually experiencing the experience. And I told her that, I was on cloud 11 again. I had come down just a level because it was the next day, but I was ready to go. And I told her that I'm here, I'm willing, I'm free. I have opened up my spirit, my energy to whatever is going to occur today. I'm going to be all in, totally present. And I encouraged her to do the same. On day 3 is also led by Tony Robbbins, and it is the most intensive experience I have ever had in my life. That's a big statement, but it's also 100% accurate. You go through this process called the Dickens method. And to give you a little glimpse into what it's like, is you start by identifying 3 of your self-limiting beliefs about yourself, your business, your family, your partner, your children, your coworkers, your job. Wherever your self-limiting beliefs lie, you write it down. You can go as shallow or as deep as you want, but it's encouraged to be deep, for them to be personal to you, so that you can see the benefits and the struggles that you've experienced by having the self-limiting belief. Now, I won't share all of the 3 of mine because some of them are very, very, very personal. But I'll share one, and it was about business. That I had the belief that I didn't have enough knowledge to have an outstanding business. I felt like there wasn't enough knowledge that could be poured into me that would make me feel like an expert or make me feel sufficient enough to teach somebody else. And that self-limiting belief caused me to not take as many chances, caused me to not show up consistently in my business, caused me to not show up to opportunities that were presented to me because I believed that I wasn't enough, that I didn't know enough. And it didn't matter that the person giving me the opportunity believed in me. It was the fact that I had these self-limiting beliefs of what was I capable of. And that one really hit hard because I really, really believed that. And the next step of the process, the other two related to my marriage and related to money and my parents. And the next step of the process is you begin to experience in full vision reality what are the repercussions of your self-limiting beliefs to yourself, to your coworkers, to those around you, to your family, to your children, to your husband, to your wife. What are the repercussions? And then it starts to build. It starts to build in what are they now? And what will they be in 5 years? And what will you be experiencing? What will you be losing? How will your loved ones, the people that you care most about, be affected by having these limiting beliefs? And it just gets worse and worse and more intense. And you get down to 10 years and 20 years. Are you even with these people anymore? Are they out of your life because of your self-limiting belief? Have you lost all of your businesses because of your self-limiting belief? Can you no longer provide for your children or your family because of your self-limiting beliefs? Are you divorced? Are you separated? Do your children speak to you anymore because of your self-limiting beliefs? And you hear these screams of anguish around you. You hear bawling. And for me, I was one of those people. I was sprawled out on the floor, on my knees, sobbing at the end of it because of the consequences that my self-limiting beliefs would induce. And then is the rise. Then Tony Robbbins walks you through the process of recovering from those self-limiting beliefs and rewriting those to be empowering beliefs, and how your life is going to be transformed. Now, this may all sound, oh, that sounds wonderful, quickly done and over with. And how does that really make a difference to your life? But I'm telling you that the whole process, it's almost impossible to believe your self-limiting beliefs after you're done with the process. They just sound totally outrageous to you. And now I think that self-limiting belief and me feeling like I didn't know enough is outrageous. I've been in business for 6.5 years. I have attended multiple conferences. I have worked with some of the best people in business, and I know what to do, how to grow, how to write, how to market. I know that in my soul, and I believe in myself now. When I walked out of that room that day and I felt the anguish and the celebration of the 10,000 other people that were with me, I knew that we had accomplished one of the greatest feats in human history, that we were able to rewrite our self-limiting beliefs. We were able to become the version our higher selves needed to level up in the game of life, to level up in business, in our relationships, in our purpose. And it was incredible. The most outstanding, empowering experience of my life. If you ever get the chance to attend a Tony Robbbins event, unleash your power within, move mountains to attend, do whatever is necessary to get yourself in gear, to get the money that's necessary to go, because it will transform your life. You will come back a different person. You will come back with more clarity. You will come back feeling powerful, that you believe in yourself and that you have more control of your life and your relationships and your business than you ever gave yourself credit for. I know that it changed my life. And I know that I'm a different person than I was a mere 2 weeks ago. I have a purpose, I have a vision, and I have rewritten my self-limiting beliefs to be empowering beliefs. And I know in my soul, in my stomach, in my gut, that I have the power. I am the voice. And I want you to know that you are the voice. You have the power. You can create change, and you can lead the life that you desire. You just have to start by taking that first step and being honest with yourself. Where are you? Where do you want to be? And what needs to happen between those two spaces to close the gap and become the person that you were meant to be in this world? I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I hope that you feel empowered after this conversation. We have new episodes every Monday and every Thursday at 8 p.m. European time, UTC time, and 7 p.m. UK time, BST time, 1 p.m. US Central Standard Time. I cannot wait to talk to you guys soon.